herds! They do move in herds. Why? This group, commonly referred to as the Dinobots, were crafted by Wheeljack, inspired by the sheer power of massive prehistoric beasts. Slow and ignorant with a knack of dismissing orders, Grimlock considers himself to be the top of his own hierarchy, and doesn't need to listen to Optimus Prime or his crew. But when allied with a common interest, or when it comes to doing the right thing, the Dinobots will stomp on the plans of the Decepticons with incredible force, not to mention their fire breath and mumble jumble. Power of the Primes brings the old team back together with the promise of a full official combiner. Before we take a look at that, let's take a look at the group together. Here they are, together after so long, with classics and false Cybertron Grimlock giving us false hope. The group has dug up from the past thanks to a combination gimmick completing the set. Even Slash comes in for moral support, but nothing for Scorn. On the one hand, with Power of the Primes continuing the combination gimmick, it sets the perfect seed to bring 5 distinct brute warriors to the table. On the other hand, they're pretty flawed. Dino forms seem to hold up better in comparison to their other modes, but maybe I'm just ecstatic seeing Generation's Dinobots in one view. Sure, they're slow, chaotic, and refuse to take orders, probably not the cleanest individuals. What do you want? Ah, yes, I see what you mean. I would have also liked to see these in the larger scale. However, considering their similarities, I'm not sure if Hasbro thought kids would even bother with the set, mainly the 3-round boys. But a certain combination seemed to have done the trick. I guess they clean up alright until you look at the deformed tail and legs of Grimlock. Their animalistic forms blend well with their colors while still allowing their own personalities. Standouts being Grimlock, Swoop, and the new Lady Slash. I'm sure everyone has a favorite with the originals, and their shapes definitely provoke that originality. If you think Grimlock gets the worst of it, well, we can fix that. It's the perfect crime! Swoop, keep your head up. Jeez. Dinobots, roar! You know, separate they look decent. Even Snarl needs some love. Did I get the name right this time? But man, there's something of a world with these creatures. Even with their fire-breathing technology, thanks Wheeljack, you can plug their weapons on them. Some look crazy lame, some wield just fine, and most are just slap it on. Would you put these in a cage or out in the jungle? Either way, I'm not gonna be the guy cleaning their mess, so let's go to the robots. Grimlock face reveal, not clickbait. Smash that merch store. Again, there's something right about the hashtag squad coming back together. Megatron's in for another pounding if he decides to take someone's lunch money. However, the weaker quality is disappointing. Half of them have this uneasy feel and somewhat loose quality that's disappointing even for a Hasbro product. Snarl's cracked shoulders with the Fruit of the Loom mascot torso, and Swoop's just Swoop. Just damn, this thing is lame, and Swoop is generally my absolute favorite. Taking into account their essential base design is typical for a combiner figure of the line. That doesn't stop the Dinobots from bringing iconic flares. Snarl's plates, Swoop's beak chest and sharp wings, Slug's head within the head, Sludge's wings, and Grimlock just being Grimlock. You see that end? That's Grimlock, yep, and it feels right. Even Slash steps up, bringing in that warrior spirit. Doesn't break or ruin anything, just adds to the table if optional. Plus, she's too cute to pass up. Treat her like a god. Give her many grapes. Basically, I'm not amazed with these. Either they're pretty subpar or disappointing. Slug and Sludge are mostly fine, and I guess Grimlock is alright. Snarl is just depressed, and Swoop is so freaking weak. If you think I want the Selects version, probably. Setting the band together is when they absolutely put a smile on my face. I feel empowered having these legendary figures stand to defeat the scum of the universe, and all before the streetlights turn on. But let's get to the point of all this, and mash this all together to make a beast! No, not that, the other beast. This'll be... good. years ago, dinosaurs roamed the world until they died off and became oil, which became plastic, and it all comes back around. Volcanicus may not have original roots from Generation 1, but the idea has been looked at in comic form, and if counted, third-party products. Usually there's either a monstrous deformity or sturdy warrior design, but this just comes off as an awkward form from the torso. Everyone has a part to play in their time to shine, with Snarl's spiked legs, Swoop's wings, Slug's head, Sludge's judgmental stare on top of a stick, and Grimlock's head. But I totally admire the original King's head, bringing the warrior spirit with Kickback's forehead as a crown, and also horns. I do admire some of the choices made, Grimlock's dino head as the centerpiece, the animalistic toes, knuckle spikes, and high turbine nipples. I have the set configured to match the instructions and promo art, but any arm can be a leg, or any leg can be an arm, or any arm can be a leg, or any leg can be an arm, or any arm can be a leg, or any leg can be an arm, or any arm can be an arm, or any leg can be a leg, or any leg can be a dinosaur, or any dinosaur can be a robot, or any robot can be a leg, and here's an image of a plane. Let me just give you an idea of the presence of this thing. That scene in Jurassic Park where the T-Rex comes in with a thunderous roar and you feel the sheer power. That was cool. Oh, by the way, this is awkward. The mid-torso seems way too thin, the legs might seem awkward, but they can be adjusted to your liking. Also, the shoulders are pitiful. Move the arms and these components and tabs can slip out. I suggest keeping the hands out for support. I'm going to bring up, while I'm using the official combination, Swoop as an arm completely ruins the posability. This lower arm is a dumpster fire. One touch and how is everything on fire? The tabs can't be trusted. You could wrap it with a rubber band or lock it with another hand, but that's cheating, and I'm not a pumpkin eater. Did someone say articulation? Head rotate, shoulders forward and back, out and in, rotation below, double elbow, hands rotate, fingers and thumbs, waist rotation, hips out and in, forward and back, rotation on the hips, rotation below, knee bend, rotating foot, and foot tilt. Posability is fine if the knees don't give, hips don't give, waist doesn't become a loose floppy fish, and Swoop sucks. Speaking of the waist, whee! Can I just do what the films did and swap Swoop out for Strafe? Yes, that's wide, boy. Look at how wide. Let me see. Yep, wide. Thankfully, you can mod this without upgrade kits that I'm not planning on buying, so please stop asking. You can take the Combiner Enigma, put it in the Dino mouth, and pretend it's something. Also, you can use the Prime Armor as the heels, or use it to fill the chest. Now that's a little more superior. I could also add the guns to the torso and maybe use the swords as daggers or bonus spikes on the back. Did you think we forget about Slash? Well, Hasbro did. Look around, there's plenty of fan modifications to add Slash to the set. I personally hooked the hands in and configure her to form the back. It even gives him a little tail. Adorable. What's with the elephant crotch? It's weird. I'm awkward. You can add Titan or Prime Masters to the feet and uncover these to replace, but why? I think he just needs a sword. Follow Cybertron Grimlock, can I borrow? Just keep it, we don't need it, not with blast nipples. The Dinobots are something I wanted for a long time and generations, and while I'm glad we have them in the line, I can't say I'm impressed. Their iconic stance is still great in its idea, but the execution of the Combiner is certainly not the best. I credit them for taking some twist, but I think this needs to go back to the drawing board. However, without it, these probably wouldn't have been released at this point. And it could go against another beastie Combiner in the line. Not really amazing, but I wouldn't argue its existence, as again, the idea is great. Someone get Sam Neill! They're emerging and taking huge dumps! Shockwave, I took his arm off by mistake.
I see that. Maybe you should reattach it.
I'll just glue it in.
No, don't do that!
Oh!
And you wonder why I refused to give you the Wi-Fi password.
The original cog figure was an addition to the gigantic Fortress Maximus as to play with the set's alternate modes. He was the formation of two drones that roamed the Titan. After the Generations release of this Titan, Cog was able to catch up into the Siege line, but these Titan drones was given an additional feature of separating to become weapons, allowing themselves to remain relevant to the toy line gimmick. Cog separates to form two armored vehicles, formerly named Gasket and Grommet. Don't make a JonTron joke. Don't make a JonTron joke. Starting with the more buggy style vehicle, this one feels more built for speed, but not for comfort, with massive guns pointing forward and two smaller ones on top you can tilt for aerial aim. Rolls very well for a drone, and the spiffy, shiny silver has an edge of hardcore energy. It's like it's a weaponized battle bot. You think the turrets are illegal? Meh, just take them off, don't worry. There's some turrets at the front. I know this isn't perfect with the arms obviously shown and the face hidden like an Easter egg. At least it doesn't have an obvious metal pole in the middle of it. Grommet is a more boxy military vehicle that is basic, yet somehow I can't tell what's a canopy or floodlights. At least it does a little trick of flipping up the waist rather than the old legs with some stickers. Still obvious nonetheless, and probably isn't built for intense play despite the details in the treads that look like hardcore divots. Rolls fine and plop the guns on top to make things mildly intimidating. Both vehicles have a little dash of red to help them pop, and they're fun rolling around by themselves, but combined they create the ultimate guy with his arms on his chest. I can't say they won't see it coming, would you? And just like cogs, they mashed together. To be fair, it looks alright. The wheels are consistent, the colors flow, and the armament goes well beyond necessary. I could complain about the tab being too easy to slip out, but with perspective, it's just a quick way to split the drones for an alternate tactic. Didn't think of that, did you? Before we get to the robot, this does require parts forming. I wish it didn't, but taking the gimmick, can I call it lazy? Separate the modes, take off all the turrets, and watch a how-to video. Either way you like it, the separate alt modes are fun as is, but combined gives it a sense of completion. Neither is bad, no wrong answers. Robot mode. In robot mode, Cog has some flair with the red and silver, but the black and blue defeats it by being a contrast of dark shades. However, it doesn't really get boring with the Seeker shoulder wheels and Ultra Magnus shoulder cannons. It's nerf! It's nerf! Cog's probably not a visual standout, but he is the starting entry into an interesting gimmick that could maybe continue further. But if you don't want to separate him, you can use the pegs on the legs and use it to smash people. Colors are way better compared to his original, but I can't take him seriously with those stubby arms. Wait, is that painted detail on the feet? Holy bimbloni! Back of the head looks like a cybernetic drone with a monocle, but the front, that's just vortex, and that explains a lot. Did someone say articulation? Head rotates, arms out and in, forward and back rotation below, elbow bend, waist rotation, hips out and in, forward and back rotation below, knee bend, and foot tilt. Posability is fine, improved by the incredible foot tilt for the full Van Dang. Just watch out for the legs to slide out. You can add flare effects to many of the spots on the figure, not on the pegs facing forward on the arms for some reason, oddly enough. But it won't matter. Oh, and for those wondering if he has any Siege painted on scratch marks, sort of. If you look at the arms, you'll see little dent marks. Let's take a look at the accessories. He comes with two generic looking blasters with absolutely terrible pegs. They slide out pretty easily, which is awful for play, but I can manage in posing. He's got holes on the titties, back, side of the arms, hands, and legs where you can add these black rifles. While they are sort of basic, that's probably a smart move.
Are those holes on the feet and the inside of the arms that I missed because I'm stupid?
Playing with these rifles might be a slut, but he also comes with two rocket blasters that can extend with armatures, two blasters, whatever this thing is, a dual blaster that can form a shield, and where did he go? This seems to be a key feature and major reason for interest, as Cog separates to form an arsenal of weapons integrated well into the Siege line. You can also combine them in different ways, hell, even buy multiple to make an unholy beast. Grab a working Siege figure or anything with a port that will comply, and you can arm them how you like. Opening the instructions shows you a few suggestions, including the defensive loadout. This gives the figure shoulder cannons where the mini turrets can adjust, as well as the entire thing on the hip joints, and thanks to the shoulders, the turrets themselves. Also some boots to take on those pesky Voyagers, rifles that should be on the side, but the pegs suck, so that's not happening, and a shield with a face staring back asking why. Also shown is offensive loadout. This has the chest reconfigured into a blaster, and holy bamboli, that's a lot of firepower! Can you even stand with those? Sure, they can be messy, flopping around in posability, but come on, I can't argue with this. It's War Machine Deluxe Edition. Imagine Doc Ock making 2 arms and asking what's the point of making 2 more when you have the firepower of Thai food coming out. Be practical, you maniac. Is Cog worth the pickup by himself? I mean, he isn't perfect, but he's alright in either mode. Why not have fun with whatever he's doing? This figure is pretty satisfying, whether you're picking it up for himself, for some giant, or for the other robots that could use a little more. This guy is simple, but I can't say he's not enjoyable. Well, if it isn't the big...
Did you think I'd forgotten the way you treated me? No. I am a hunter, and it is my profession. And I will track you to wherever you're hiding. Do not forget who I am.
Shit. Previously on this show, Lamborghini label so you know it's good. You know, if you disappoint me less often, you might actually get the Wi-Fi password.
Pathetic. Thinking he's assured safety from a prize tracker.
That's what you get for being naughty, but it's certainly not worthy of its name. And you wonder why I refuse to give you the Wi-Fi password.
I am a hunter, and it is my profession. And I will track you to wherever you're hiding.
Shit. Now on the show...
Understand. I will soon have my revenge. You cannot comprehend what I'm capable of. Transmission out.
Shockwave, I've done some thinking.
What is it?
What's in soap anyways? And by that I mean, what defines it as being clean? I mean, I could wash my hands in Alfredo sauce. No one ever said that's not clean. So what specifically in soap makes it clean?
You've got a bounty hunter coming after you because you gave it a terrible rating. And then also, you knocked it out in the woods. And your mind sets its efforts on what makes a clean product.
I'm sorry, I wanted to be clean, jerk!
Holy shit!
Don't worry, I sent Cog to pick us up a Titan. I think we should be good for now, so stop your whining, but who is Fortress Maximus, you ask?
I didn't.
Don't make this awkward, I don't appreciate it! Fortress Maximus debuted back in 1987 and had the title of the biggest Transformer toy in history until it was beaten out by Generations Metroplex, which the Titans Return figure is a remold of. Wait. Did Fortress Maximus beat out Fortress Maximus? This figure is so large that to keep in tune with the Headmaster gimmick of the time, his Headmaster was an average-sized figure with its own Headmaster. That's like head squared. Just like his Headmaster, he would prefer a route without a fight, but the war that's reached the vast universe is inescapable in the hopes of reaching that result. Fortress Maximus returns in the Titans Returns toy line as one of the highlights for the entire sub-series. Let's start with Emissary, returning name after the Robots in the Sky show. No, not that one. No? Yeah, that. But in some continuities, this was actually Spike. We're doing this again. Nice penguin arms for a mold exclusive to this figure. However, same articulation, head, arms, legs, same size, same, it's the same, it's all the same, folded up. Ooh, handsome. Using Emissary, we can complete... the demon! After installing 2 AA batteries and pressing on the buttons on top, Cerebros by himself has 4 blast sounds and a voice clip. Cerebros. Bruh. You might be wondering, where's the gun, Jim? Well, actually, it's... What did you call me? It's hidden right inside the tit of Fortress Maximus. Just open it up with permission and plug it in. And in Titans Returns fashion, you can add a Titan Master. Isn't this like giving Beachcomber a weapon? The Hunchback of Notre Maximus seems alright with his boxy chest and thick abdomen, suggesting he focuses too much on his core. He is mostly gray and black, but that's alright. He's a good-sized robot that's ahead for another robot. He doesn't need to be a standout when there's grace in his purpose. And I can't say I'm not amused by his anime need to pee stance. Did someone say articulation? Ball jointed head, shoulders out and in, forward and back, ball joint elbows, hips out and in, forward and back, rotation below, knee bend, and foot and heel move. For a pacifist, Cerebros does alright with his own, and feels like a great addition to the line, but maybe it's because with his presence, you know what's under his sleeve. Cerebros transforms into a tower or bridge depending on the mode, and it may not look like much, but you get a perch for a little figure, and now we can bring in the big guy in his battle station mode. Just open up the gap and listen to the sweet transformation sound. Hitting the buttons again will activate the sounds, but instead new sounds are unlocked by a little tab. Let's listen. In Battle Station mode, Fortress Maximus isn't fooling anyone. You don't have to look directly above to catch it's just a large man and not a shield helicarrier. I'll take this with its massive playroom over Broadside's jet, which you can dock. Wait, you could also do this with the carrier. Not practical, you say? Who cares? Facing forward are these two massive double-barrel cannons that can lift up. Keep in mind they can droop. They just look amazingly powerful with a force of 15 Shaggies. There's Titan Master ports all over the figure and 5mm ports in various places, including just above the ramps and the side section, what looks to be a landing pad. Perfect for including those miniature Titan vehicles and weapons to pilot. There are wheels. While the set is nowhere near elegant, it does manage to roll. Also, if you want, you can slide the knees in if you like the look. This may seem pretty cheap and lackluster, but it is long, giving you a lot to work with, and it is somewhat similar to the original. If that's not enough, you can open up the legs and even open a few panels, one of which reveal a turret. Alright, enough messing with the battle station mode. Let's jump into the city mode. That's city mode? That looks nothing like the city mode. That was one of the highlights of the old figure. Do you take me for a buffoon? Because I'm tired of people confusing me for a buffoon. Look, I know the battle station isn't a feat of engineering, but at least you could say it looks like what it should be. I don't need it to shift like the Doctor Strange film, but this is just sad. On the bright side, I can lift it up without the legs collapsing, and it does seem more interesting with the side ramps, an actual canopy section, and hands. To its credit, having the legs spread like this gives it a more fortress vibe with giant walls protecting its citizens. And I can see my house from here. Hey, look, there it is. Also, the set allows play from the interior with the port to stand on, and there's ramps with puzzle-style attachments you can use with the Leader class and Titan class base modes. You can find more on the back of the legs. Thankfully, the limbs can move out of the way, which allows you to configure this around. Look! It's a K. Now, how many cities can welcome you with a bird? Show me New York. Alright, the city mode is growing on me considering it's actually using parts from the Metroplex with the same ramps from the legs. The majority of the arms and legs are also the same, as well as various other parts. They were limited with what they could do. I mean, what can you do? It's not like you could just re-engineer the legs, or using the same kept joints, open them up, take off the drone, rotate the hips, fold the knees, and maybe open up the guns for support and have that. What are you, a dumbass defenseless baby bird begging for food? Where's a hammer? I wonder what we could add to the set. Cerebros, some Titan Master vehicles, Lego Infant, Target Masters, Micro Masters. Oh, I know COG! Nah, that's dumb. Or, in the original figure, Fortress Maximus included COG to roam the giant, so whether you have him in alt mode, split up, robot, or weapon, COG catches up with the set beautifully. I do wish more of this was connected by ramps or steps to help things move from one area to the next, but at least it's equipped for combat in case of Godzilla robot attacks, with the little cannons. Whoa, zoom into the window there. I see Corey. It's not hard to say the city is disappointing, either because of the recycled parts or no effort was put in. But given there's room to mess around with, it's growing on me. Robot mode. into robot mode, Cerebros forms the head of this behemoth. Once you reveal the face, the transformation sound activates with glowing eyes. The same goes in reverse. Plug it in for the cling noise, and complete the main man. I'm a little biased as I had not owned a Transformers figure this tall before, but holy mother of eggs, this bitch is huge. Hello, big and tall shop? Yeah, we need something bigger. Now I want to see this guy in a suit. It's not all great, however. Where's the red dot on the crotch? Oh well, there's a rashy taint. I asked for this. Those with eyes of a hawk may have noticed the lack of stickers and could be curious why I didn't apply them. Simply said, stickers suck. You expect me to add over 100 stickers? No sirree, Bob. Even if this Autobot logo-shaped crater feels empty. There's a lot of parts taken from Metroplex as seen here in the arms and legs, but most of the attachments seem to be new. However, some things retain, like the legs opening, this panel that can swing open for no reason, and this thing that I'm oddly fascinated by. It's like they could have done more, adding gimmicks or reworking the city mode. Why must you taunt? Nice arm capes. Do they make it for men? I'm glad this rework didn't go to his head. I mean, actually didn't go to his head, because that's straight up Fortress Maximus, or straight up Cerebros. Either way, it feels so right with the ears, elongated forehead, and stern look of a Guardian statue. Better than the weird Takara exclusives. I'm creeped out. You are supposed to play the sounds by pushing in the chest, but his head seems to slide out when I try, and the button has too much friction to slide out on its own. So, removing his head, I'll just push the button here.
Fortress Maximus! Decepticon! Autobot!
I can't be the only one hearing the clash of a sword in there, but it's a lie! Only two versions of the mold had a sword similar to the old figure, including Takara's Grand Maximus and the SDCC exclusive. Anyways, I'm sure the excuse is, Hasbro's lazy. Did someone say, articulation? I just hurt myself doing that. Head rotates, arms out and in, forward and back rotation below, elbow bend, wrist rotates, hands move as long as the thumbs are out. Fingers move, thumb moves, waist rotates, hips out and in, forward and back rotation below, and knee bend. Despite the fat weight of this fat fatty and the feet that easily disconnect when you're messing with it, also the lack of heels, he surprisingly holds pretty well, even in a more dynamic pose. I still don't trust it, fat turd. Let's take a look at the accessories. Where are they? Well, they're on him, you silly freaking goose. You can open up the titty and add the weapon in places such as the arms and shoulder. You can flip up the cannons for indestructible knees, or detach it completely. Fold the handle, slide under the thumb, and tab it in for some awesome handheld blasters. Gee, would be nice if it was a sword. These weapons also have a peg, but because of the bump, it's tricky to find places for it. But I guess no one will mess with Cerebros anytime soon. While they do look good, ugh, the knees, they call for heavy artillery. Not enough? Bring in Cog for the extra feel of completion. There's even a peg hole on the back, just like the Siege figures. While there's no official combination, the manga does suggest a certain combination. Yes, I saw the manga for science. At least I could use Cog as a staff, but it's not a sword. Though maybe that's a good thing, considering the rotation of the arm isn't tight, and he has trouble holding my Kung Fu Panda 2 DVD. I just wish he had the cannons in the waist like the old figure. I mean, there are these painted in details to suggest it, and I get why it's not there to fold out. Just wishful thinking. There are holes to plug weapons so you can get... Wait! Oh, sweet victory! You can also take this probable drone, and using the connection point, you can... I have no idea! I haven't found its use, if they even bothered to add any. Why must you lie in taunting ways? That's his Chevy logo on his head. On the bright side, there's pizza cutters in his arm. Fortress Maximus was holding the rank of largest Transformers toy ever, so this was no small feat to begin with. But the figure falls short in areas and feels like it's behind. I don't know if it has to do with the short time frame, as it seems things were developed but not thought through to the release, or if the Metroplex parts got in the way, or both. Cerebro seems fine, as none of the issues hamper him at all. Lacking and probably not worth the entire original price, but the size is amazing for this legendary being, and he gets a lot more enjoyable surrounded by other figures. He'll need a booster seat in the car, but he definitely has the Guardian stamp of approval, and it looks like he will answer the call to protect justice. Speaking of which...
Cog, lockdown is coming to knock over my expensive chicken plate collection. Where's Fortress Maximus? Where are you? Where's Venice?
Yeah, Fortress Maximus tripped on a rock and slipped. Also, can't seem to find his head. I think it rolled into a bush.
Oh no!
I don't even know where we are, but there's like 5 Starbucks within walking distance.
Oh no!
Venice is in Italy.
Oh no! Wait, I'm getting another call. Hello?
Remember me?
Ah, jeez.
I'm not to be played with, scum. I will hunt you down. And when I do,
You can't just scare me like that!
you will beg for mercy as you remember how you treated me.
Wait, Shockwave!
What, buffoon?
I have an idea. I think I know what he's up to, and I think I can deter Lockdown from coming here. But there's one thing I need. I need the Wi-Fi password.
I'm not sure what you need.
There's no time to explain! Just give me the Wi-Fi password!
Fine, it's Shockwave rules, no C. This was all a scheme just to get the Wi-Fi password.
Yes, it was, my logical bastard.
Is Lockdown even a real guy?
Nope, check this out.
That's right. It was me the whole time, sucker.
I can't believe you did this.
Hunter, it's not what it looks like.
I thought I could trust you, but I guess I was wrong. I guess I was the fool all along!
I only did it for the children.
I'm moving back with my parents, Frank 1 and Frank S. And frankly, they were much better kissers.
Why?
Because you need Jesus!
Hunter, I'm Breakers.
Well, that was lame.
Wait a minute. If you're there, and I'm here, then where's Venice?
You're gonna say it.
Our worlds are in Denver!
SCATTORSHOT, not to be confused with the Technobot leader Scattershot, was a little Autobot technician with a heart of gold and weapons of oh shit! He may be small, but with his massive arsenal, he could pack a punch if the blowback force didn't drop him like a turtle. Scattershot is always concerned about his actions, never wanting to let down his friends. Even when it's out of his hands, his doubt gets the best of him. But when he's at a brick wall, his friends will be there to pick him up. Scattershot transforms into a little military truck. You can tell by the armored truck look, all-terrain treads, armored windows, and probably most notably, the firepower of the bomb that took out Major Kong. Even Warpath is like, yo, hold up. If you probably noticed, Scattershot has gigantic missiles that make me question its practicality. I'm no expert on this, but is the vehicle heavy enough not to flip from the blast? Oh well, who cares? Just flick them and witness Decepticons shitting themselves. It's like Scattershot is the can, and the missiles is the joke snakes that jump out. What, not enough firepower? Well, they prepared for you to be a maniac. Scattershot also has a smaller turret that can be plugged on top because I guess it wasn't enough. What's that? You want more? Okay, you're officially not invited to my dinner party. We haven't even brought up the cyber key gimmick. Plug in the Earth's cyber key and unlock a whole missile rack. Damn, that's enough to take out a whole forest. Or more accurately, to take out Pompeii. The vehicle itself cleans up well, with the feet being used to cover the back, and it all comes together to make the little weapon of a truck. Digging the dark blue wheels and treads with the gold details that suggest this is just a tiny Soundwave with a small but better truck mode. Rolls nice, fun to hold, and underneath the arms are the only major visual drawback, but the mini shoulder weapons look like some sort of mechanical work. Simply put, this vehicle is an adorable little Sasha with incredible weaponry capable of being a force to be reckoned with. A bundle of fun and force blended amazingly. Robot mode. Scattershot in robot mode is not someone I trust with important technical doodads. If he gets a Windows error before saving, something's gonna blow. Does that make him a military warrior or keyboard warrior? Either way, I'm not sure how to feel about this. Imagine a box full of fluffy kittens with an assault rifle duct taped to it. Should I be in fear? Should I be in awe? Is this love? Paintwork is fine with this honey mustard and gold inner robot looking like an army scout dressed in this homemade Transformers costume with the chest made overly long. Big headlights and thin waist? That's not gonna fly well. Digging the shoulder lights seem pretty useful when he's fixing the breaker, and the Autobot symbol on the one hand that could probably stamp an imprint on the Decepticons. Why did Barricade get the credit? Head's painted well, but when I was a kid, I thought he had some pretty goofy ass eyes. Come to find out, he just has some overpriced glasses. Did someone say, articulation? Head rotates, shoulders out and in, forward and back, ball joint elbows, hips out and in, and that's it for the toy. What a lost opportunity for some leg movement. All the posability gets soaked into the arms. I guess it's alright given how short he is, but man, it certainly would have put him over the top because he's a borderline mascot. Even the side wheel gun things get into the action with ball joints. Speaking of that, let's take a look at the accessories. He comes with a double long barrel gun because apparently he needed it, which you can plug on the hand for a laugh, though overshadowed by the two pylons sticking up, because of course, you can plug it into the hand. Also comes with a cyber key which activates the unchanged gimmick shown in the missile rack. Thank goodness you can flip out the junk in the trunk and aim forward. Otherwise, I'd question its use, and yes, the push missiles still work. Try not to look at anime titties. Sweet, sadistic, sunrise, scattershot. If only he could do a jig. If you get the treads out of the way, you could bend the knees sideways. Here's hoping Cold Construct's satchel happens. Otherwise, with the treads out, he's awesome at the squat. Scattershot is an adorable little figure that proves he can pack a punch with either his ultimate weaponry or unbelievable charm. He's one of the main Autobots that earned his spot in the intro song, and continues to be loved. If it wasn't for the legs, I would completely recommend Scattershot to anyone, including those nostalgic for the series. It really is one of the only things holding them back, although I question how long the transformation joints will last, as some of them are a little too tight. As it is, he's a great desk toy and still is a great guy. I'm not just saying that for his massive characteristics. Hey Shockwave, have you seen Nightbird?
You let a ninja in the house?
Yeah, why?
You understand they can be anywhere, hiding in the shadows, only seen when they want to be. They could stalk you wherever you go, and you wouldn't.
Found it! She fell off a desk. In the original cartoon, Nightbird was designed by a scientist as a robotic female, which doesn't sound too far off from reality with that realistic woman AI thing that was kind of creepy. She was designed with the skills of a ninja and was taken by the Decepticons as one of their key weapons. Or maybe Megatron was lonely. Because of her small yet memorable part and lack of an alt mode given her origins, she's only had one previous main class toy, that of which was only a Takara release, aka Nor RC. Maybe one day she'll get a proper spotlight, but until then she might come in as a repaint if it sees the opportunity, in which Selects brings with a Chromia repaint. Also, they come in these generic boxes. Yeah. From the shoebox-looking package, Nightbird transforms into a Cybertronian car, perfect for a night stroll. Essentially, this is a repaint of Chromia with a glossy, dark finish. You can tell with the massive canopy, but in a beautiful deep purple. Whoa, that's a lot of molded detail seen with the help of a glossy paint reflecting from the light. Shows just how different this is to the Moonracer mold with similar engineering down to the long shape and cluster of slacking off. It does show it can get overboard. All these lines make it look like that screensaver with a bunch of tubes. Also, you see the cylinders? Those ones at the bottom? The hell are those anyway? It's like a Star Destroyer turned into a car. I do like the siege port headlights and the wheels attached from the outside in. Speaking of the back, you can see how fluid this side is? What happened to this side? It won't lock in. Well, you see this open gap in the arm for the tab? This side is filled in because we can't have nice things. I've asked around and it seems like a rare issue. Does that make me more angry? Despite the robot's primary gray color scheme, I think it's pretty smart to paint it in such dark colors. I can imagine this driving in the dark, hiding in the shadows, ready to strike and telling Rachel to calm down and Batman begins. And to top it off, the gray torso that ruins the illusion. They could add a panel, but is it worth the robot kibble? It's like a Tron cycle got remolded in emo colors. Now, she wasn't given an alt mode to start. It's been mentioned her backstory was changed for the series, but would it matter anyways? They're Transformers toys. Even if she wasn't a repaint, a mainline toy is bound to have one. The fact we have a figure is good enough. There's plenty of portholes for weapons and some siege ports in certain areas to add blast effects, or the honey mustard bottles included, which can be added to the back as some exhaust. You can also plug the blaster on top, but that's breaking the illusion if it wasn't already. I'll admit, keeping the feet together and hugging the side of the panel for the alt mode proves to be a little difficult, but at least it's functional unlike some area. You know, you really shouldn't wear black in the dark. You don't want to go off, mind your own business, and then suddenly you see headlights and there's a bear. As a ninja woman who can stalk in the shadows, Nightbird's adaptation from the Chromia has a few issues, being the obvious torso disrupting the color. But it does well enough for her, and I appreciate the idea, especially the dark purple. Robot mode. In robot mode actually looks pretty decent. There's some complex texturing to it, but I think it works. Although the slick head sculpt feels out of place for being straight up classic inspired. And the smooth thighs taken from Moonracer? So smooth. You made things weird! You know, I would probably be convinced this mold was meant for Nightbird. I'm finding the shape and coloring fitting for her, and she seems arguably better than the all-blue alternative. I can totally get the ninja vibe. You know you're a true ninja with an entire car strapped to you! I think there's a solid enough flow to the main figure that disconnects itself from the mess that is back kibble, probably due to either the excessive detail work or use of the colors that lets the figure be highlighted. I wish it wasn't there until I realized I turned it around to see the beautiful dark purple. It's like she's transporting Dark Energon, or the energy of Yuri. At least it gets out of the way, unlike the stupid leg kibble. Good God, these things are infuriating, not because they simply exist, but you think they learned from the Moonracer. Screw that! Let's have impossible flow to the leg, and have it hit the upper leg, so you have to pull it back to bend the knee, so it sticks out more and Let's get into something better, which isn't saying much. Head sculpt is straight taken from Nightbird, with the cloak-shaped, covered face and eyes of a fierce woman. Why are you mad? And why am I frightened? Only concern is the loose ball joint, but look how high she can look up. She could scowl at any direction. Did someone say, articulation? Ball jointed head, shoulders out and in, forward and back, rotation below, elbow bend, wrist bend, hips out and in, forward and back, rotation below, knee bend, foot forward and back, and foot tilt. Posability is fine. Would love it if the knees could bend more. I specifically left out the waist joint for a reason, as it is there, but only slightly. This black bit on the joint is meant to get out of the way, but it doesn't open enough to allow it to become necessary. If you want more, pop this off, and there goes my monetization for the video. I saw concerns on the Generations female figures' constant reuse of the same or reworked molds. I'm not diving too deep into that, but I want to bring up, what would you expect from Nightbird? Unless she gets a serious appearance like in Cyberverse, she never had an alt mode to begin with in her brief origins. In that, a Generations Nightbird will likely just be repaints. I'm not guaranteeing it, I'm not complaining, because we actually have a Generations Nightbird. Interesting enough, she carries no Decepticon logos, which is perfect because technically she is not a Decepticon. Now, someone tell Lockdown that. Let's take a look at the weapons. Why does Zetar get an extra drill, but she has recycled Chromia weapons and no bonus ninja weapons? I guess they try giving them different names and purposes, but that's a lost opportunity. She has 2 flash grenades, which actually that kind of works for her. Using the tabs, you can add it to the backpack because it's what she desperately needs, or combine them like so. They also have siege-sized ports and holes for blast effects or to mix things up with the other weapons. She also has a Venomizer blaster in the same gross color, which you can extend with 1 or 2 grenades. You can also take the Men in Black stick and add it to the front like a silencer or on the top like a scope. Interesting enough, they did craft a melee weapon with the grenades and stick to form a Nightshock baton. There's the instruction way, and then there's my preferred way of sticking the grenades on both ends. Or stick one piece under and then one piece over the hand. So many possibilities like this, this, or throw it away. Paint deco's alright, I like the colors, but the metallic gunmetal is very pick and choose. Fortunately, no battle scratches, but she does retain those siege blast ports and weapon ports. What did I do to piss you off? I think I'm a little biased on this toy, but I think given the mold, they had some ideas here that I managed to catch. Though, if she was given her own mold, I think they could have done better. As it stands, this works seemingly better than the Chromia Deco. She's got a lot of issues, including the garbage on her legs, but I'm happy to get a Nightbird into the line as is. And I think most of the joy comes from that. A ninja bot in my collection is certainly welcome, and Nightbird needed a point to shine. Subscribe to her reaction channel to watch her scowl at cat videos. I think I should write a letter to Hasbro because this is mean.
What makes you say that?
Here's this guy minding his own business and then they decide to put a dunce cap on him.
That is a drill.
This is the best toy ever! Zetar, whatever you want to call him, was part of a line called the Powerdashers, which were essentially mail-order toys back at the beginning of the Transformers. They didn't appear in the show and were mostly just re-released Diaclone toys with fine-tuning, all of which had pullback motors and a canopy for a missing minifigure. Completely under no one's expectation, the opportunity suddenly rose for the characters to come back only as repaints, surprising nonetheless. Now they're thrown into the weaponizer gimmick to the Siege line, shining light onto a forgotten group of misfits.
Ooh, it's brown plastic.
Zetar transforms into a specific type of tank, which is basically just Brunt in presumably G2 colors. There is one major difference though on the front of the vehicle. This one has an Autobot symbol. Oh, and also the drill. I question the practicality of a drill with a massive cannon like this, with up and down and a rotational joint, but you can't lie to me. A tank with a drill is immediately superior by default. You know, I'm not picky about the turret, as I have no major nostalgia to the original Zetar, but with it off, this Powerdasher is closer to being a decent readaptation. There's a heavy-duty industrial build, with the hydraulics and even down to the lights. I take one look and think, this man knows where he's going and he deserves a promotion. As for the transformation, and maybe to better present the gimmick, you do have to separate certain sections of the vehicle. If you want, you can split it like COG for the smaller drill drone and massive turret tank that... Looking at these cylindrical weapon parts, you can add it to the side or the front of the turret, or, you know, throw it away. Interesting enough, there's no reference to these in the instructions anywhere. It's possible they meant to replace it with the drill, but they did both because you've been good so far. You could also try to add the drill to the end and add it to the turret. The possibilities are up to your imagination. Don't get too intimidated. While the turret looks massive, the joints seem to hold it with ease. I guess you could remove the drill entirely, but why do you hate fun?
No one suspects the snake gun.
I guess my only real criticism is it certainly needed tabs to keep its parts in place, otherwise the future Tonka monster has the power of Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris. But it's not a Transformer because parts. I don't care. I love this alt mode. It's so much fun to mess with the drill tank, and the added options makes it hard to get bored, which is a toy's great strength, and this works. Robot mode. Zetar is the obvious Chad of the Powerdasher repaints, not only because it seems fitting for the mold that wasn't meant for him, but for celebrating what you could do with an alien fighting machine. Rock-hard boots of a working man, well-built, powerful claws not just for attracting mates, beefy hard-edged torso, shoulder lights, and the incredible drill head, all together creating this mechanical being of joy. Imagine this guy at the scene of a natural disaster. He just seems built for the toughest jobs in Dodge Ram commercials. To top it off, he comes with a gun that, again, goes nowhere in the instructions. Even love the treads in the legs. They look like belts that give the legs the extra bit of strength. Combined with the construction colors and weird design, this could make an awesome Yu-Gi-Oh monster. Actually, it looks like something from an anime. Or, actually, it looks like a Mega Man boss. Oh, but it's a parts former, so it doesn't count as a transformer. How dare you oppose him? I know the squished and rounded face might not give a fierce appearance, but I'm so happy they kept the look of the sticker face of the original, but giving it some sort of 3D texturing to give it life. Drill as a hard hat is absolutely amusing and plugs into the peg to keep the brains in. Like a Lego person though, twisting the drill doesn't always mean the face will follow. It does leave the head flat and incomplete, but it does come off with the peg hole and can be used in places like the chest. You could also add stuff to his head like, I don't know, a whole figure. You can see the joint in the teeth, and what's with the green nose? Got a cold? Did someone say articulation? Head rotate, shoulders out and in, forward and the back rotation below, elbow bend, claw, thumb, waist rotation, hips out and in, forward and the back rotation below, knee bend, and foot tilt. The only thing I change is the secondary elbow joint so it's not an Age of Extinction Dinobot, but I can't sit here and say it's bad because it's not. Keep an eye on the arm for this extended part of the transformation. Sometimes the mushroom joint slips off, so wiggling gives it leverage to slip out. Also, no paint on the legs, but at least it won't scrape when he shoves a boot in the ass. There's siege blast ports and weapon holes in many places and even some pegs, but most importantly, there's a port at the very top of the drill. Let's take a look at the accessories. He comes with the recycled barrel and extension that can combine to form a gun. As mentioned, not seen in the instructions, but you can add it to the back or above the claw, or use this to extend the head. You could also replace the legs and now it looks like Rampage, or something from Yokai Watch. You could also create this mega weapon. He also has 2 claw weapons that can become shoes, 2 yellow bricks that can combine into a massive gun. This connection system, whatever this thing is, it looks like an engine. Whatever this is, I think it's a shield. A Ramjet cosplay helmet, and where did he go? This gimmick comes with the burden of the Powerdashers being repaints of the weaponizers, but for Zetar, his heavy-duty nature seems to fit, especially with the drill, giving him an edge of unique effectiveness of this utility. Taking the instructions has a few suggestions, like the Demolition's loadout, featuring the shield, some clunky shoes, a massive cannon on the top with decent articulation, and a drill weapon. Also, I guess the gun can participate. Watch out for the drill. I have to turn it a certain way to keep it in, otherwise it slips out and it becomes a launcher. I accidentally made an idea. I like how rather than simply more weapons, the drill helps the set give it an extra reason to specifically use this. That's a big shoulder cannon! Overcompensating for something? In Serpentine loadout, you continue to have the shield, but now you get a drill attached to the back, and oh. Johns of a madman! Who took the leftover parts from scrap metal to make this unholy abomination? Can barely hold its weight and is super long! And I like your style. Overcompensate yet again? But what about the drill? Does it just hide on the back? Here's an idea. Take the smaller gun and add it to the other end for a handheld weapon. How much power do you need? It's like a wacky inflatable tube-man when destructive. So how is Brunt in Bumblebee colors? I understand why people would pick up Nightbird over this for a nostalgic and recognizable reason, as the Powerdashers get left in the dust. But this figure is actually a lot of fun. Every mode brings me joy. It's a robot and it owns that it's a robot. He has won me over at how ridiculous, amazing, and enjoyable he is. I say, you just need a Zetar to get the idea of what makes him awesome. That is, if you don't have a height limit.